Okay, has anyone in this room ever been to Australia? Raise your hand if you have been to Australia. Oh, there is one person. 2, 3. Anyone else? New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia? No? Ah, see, we have like 7 people. So you guys should know one fact about Australia. And that is that it's very far away from Costa Rica. It will actually take you more than 22 hours flying. When you're going to get there, there is one day that you're going to miss. And the reason is because you're going to cross the line of the International Day. But when you're going to come back, there is one day that you're going to live for 48 hours. In 1997, I moved to Australia. It was awesome. Imagine, 18 years old, in high school, with good sun, good beers. It's like the dream. It was like super, super awesome. And that is the place where I actually learned to speak English. So a Costa Rican learning in Australia ended up with this accent, so I'm sorry for that. But I had one really tough challenge. As a Latin American from Costa Rica, we are really close to our family. And I think that is something that we share with Romanians. So being 1 year away, so far away, it just makes it hard, you know, like you sometimes feel lonely, sometimes you want to share and you don't have the channels, especially if you don't speak the language. But with my family, I had 2 ways to communicate. One, the mobile phone. I don't know if you remember these phones, but when they were first launched, they were called mobile phones. And the reason is because you could grab them and with the cable and walk around the house and hide under the table. They were the mobile phones. I didn't use it so much because talking 5 minutes with my family back in Costa Rica will cost around 20 euros. So yeah, when the communication is neither so good, it's out of the picture. Well, unless you're rich, but yeah, not the case. The other way to communicate that you had was by post mail. I used it a lot. Actually, I used to write probably 2 letters per month to my family, and I used to write them, not typing. So if I will make a mistake, I will need to start again because my dad is really like strict. So I couldn't send something with, you know, scratching and stuff. I had a really nice practice there. And to give you some perspective on how it was, if I wanted to send my parents a Christmas card, you know, resembling Australia and my life there, I needed to make sure that I will send it not in December because the traffic of mail is really, really high and the distance is massive and it's not going to happen. Not even in November because it's risky. If you send a letter and it gets lost in one of the connections, it's not going to make it. So the only chance that I had was to send it by Halloween. The problem was that in Halloween, you can't find a Christmas card. Now, today, we have moved really far. We have moved really fast. We're in a totally different age. On the same Christmas day, I can go online. I can find an internet card, put the faces of my family, buy it on the internet, send it to my parents, and my parents are going to send it to my auntie, my uncle, their friends, and all in the same day. And I think that this evolution that we have had is because of our will to communicate. I think this conference is that. I'm communicating an idea. All the people here are communicating an idea. Even the guy before, I think he works in radio, right? It's about communication. Our will to communicate is so big, and it grows with distance, that enables a force to beat the impossible. And that is why I love telecommunications. Because it just provides a platform for us to do what we deeply feel. We are social individuals, and as such, we would like to communicate. I just share a little story on how technology has enabled to communicate. And probably I will say in one way. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about how is technology enabling us to connect, which is the same, it's communication, but let's think about it more in communication both ways, really intense, and so on and so forth. 3 years after Facebook was created, I joined it. This is a picture of me in the Great Wall of China, you know, making fun of the Chinese people. It was just amazing to have a Latin American in between all these people. But when I joined, I was thinking, you can see that I was thinking something else. I didn't know that I, together with you, through social media, were going to be witnesses of something that is changing the world. It was a revolution. And that is because when people get connected, more than just one-way communication, but actually sharing, our ideas, our emotions, and our actions get magnified. They become bigger as people start telling the story. But also, something that is really interesting that sometimes we're not so aware, our social ability. So I'm not talking anymore just a person learning, but I'm talking about a community learning. It will help us to learn from each other, to exchange knowledge, to exchange experience, but also, which is another really big, great thing about social media, it makes us aware that there are further possibilities. Things that we just didn't thought were possible, all of a sudden are at our reach. And then what happens is that once we get connected, our life changes. Social media, I think, is going to stay. Yeah, it's going to stay. It's going to take different shapes. And the way we connect with the social networks is going to change, and this will open new opportunities and new challenges for our society. But there is something interesting, and probably, how many of you guys work on the technology field? Okay, probably 25% of the group. How many of you are in communications, marketing, communications, and so on? Oh, not so many. Like 15%, so it's interesting. I'm sure that people in those fields could have predicted that social media was going to happen. The technology guys were really focused into hardware development, software development, especially trying to connect the individual and the personal computer to each other and to exchange information really, really quick. That was the aim for many, many years. They reached it. On the other side, there was an emerging global-minded society coming up. And we could see it. We used to call it globalization in university. And they ask you, can you please write an essay on globalization? Okay, and then you go. We could have seen, it would have opened our eyes, that social media is going to come. Now, the question that I would like us to ask to ourselves is the following. What will happen when everything, absolutely everything that will benefit from being connected is connected? Everything. Right now, we're reaching a peak of connectivity. Worldwide, the mobile penetration is around 80%. And I'm talking about not only the smartphones, but I'm also talking about more basic devices. And I'm not talking about that 80% in the world is connected, but I'm talking that if you take all of these connected devices with all of the people of the world, then you have around 80% of the population. In Europe, the number goes beyond 100%. How many of you have two phones? 30% of the room has at least two phones. Can you imagine? How many of you have an iPad? So we have like 5%. And then you can add your desktop, you can add many other devices, and then this 1% is just going to keep increasing. In Ericsson, we are estimating that in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be around 10,000, that's a lot of devices. Huh? There will be around 10 devices per person connected. So you're going to have 10 things. You know, yes, you. Say, raise your hand. Say, hi, yes, with a nice shirt. She's so shy. Or you are going to have 10 devices connected. Can you imagine? 10 devices. Now, the question is, probably to bring some clarity, which are those 10 devices? Let's give some examples. Number one, the car. The car is not going to tell you only how to get there. It's not only going to tell you how to avoid the traffic. It's going to be connected overall with the traffic, and it's going to be capturing information on where the dangers are, so your drive is going to be also safer. And it's also going to tell you how to get there faster, considering, for example, environmental changes like rains, the situation of the road, construction, so on and so forth. But it's also going to be communicating the performance of the car. So think about it. Why do you actually take your car for revision? Some dude comes with an equipment and plugs the thing, and then he reads and he says, yeah, it's okay, go. And how long you spend there? Like, I don't know. Probably took half day of work. in the future, is going to be connected, and it's going to be constantly checking, and you're going to get a message saying, hey, it's about time you take me to the shop because I do need to be checking X and Y. This one is awesome. And now don't lie. How many of you go to the toilet at least twice per day? Raise your hand. Come on. Come on. No, be honest with yourself. That's how we start developing. How many of you go to the toilet at least 4 times per day? Hey, no, the guys, when they drink beer one night, how many times you go? And then accumulate that and divide it per the number of days, it's more than 4. Every time you flush the toilet, you're throwing down the drain information that can save your life. Is any microbiologist here? But isn't it true? Don't you sometimes go to the doctor and say, oh yeah, can you take this thing on urine? And then you go and bring it, and it's a whole drama. What will happen if every time you go to the bathroom, the information is being collected and trends are being reflected, and you start learning about yourself, about your health, about how the things that you eat are affecting your body, without changing your behavior? You will still go to the bathroom and enjoy it, if you enjoy it, and collecting information that is going to change your life. Other one, the TV. How many of you, well, probably you guys watch Eurovision. In the future, you're going to be watching Eurovision in the screen, but you're going to have your sister in Bucharest and your cousin in Constanza also being reflected there, because in the TV there is a camera and Skype is all merged there, and then you can see them. In the other side of the TV, you're going to have Twitter or Facebook or both of them, and you're going to be tweeting, yeah, Romanian song is the best, can you please vote, whatever. Under that, there's going to be a little advertisement saying, take away food for the people who live in Cluj near the National Park. And under it, you're going to see other advertisements saying, talking about human rights in Azerbaijan in the context of Eurovision. So watching TV is going to become something that we can share, and it's going to become something on which we can interact. There are companies, including LG, that are really further in the path. Another one is the fridge. The fridge is going to own the kitchen, so I'm really sorry for all the guys and ladies that feel ownership over the kitchen. And the reason is because the fridge is currently the warehouse where you put all of your goods, and the fridge knows what you eat. It knows what you don't have. I could tell you, yeah, the fridge is going to let you know that you run out of milk. Why? Because you put the fridge, you scan it, you put it inside, it knows it has milk, you start taking it out, every time it comes out, it realizes, and then it knows there is no milk, and then it sends you a message, hey Juan, you run out of milk. Instead of doing that, the fridge is automatically going to connect with Bila online, and it's going to tell, guys, Juan ran out of milk, and he already set up the system, so you send him the milk automatically, and we can see he is already in the car because the car is connected to the traffic, and we're estimating that he's going to arrive in 25 minutes. Can you make sure that the milk is here before 25 minutes? Then the Bila guy in the motorcycle goes, throws the milk in the door, you come, the milk is there. And what is going to sound weird, but it's also really powerful, what will happen if the fridge connects with the toilet? The toilet analysis may tell the fridge what is your current situation in terms of a state. For example, you may be dehydrated, and it's going to say, let's not go for the meat today. Let's go for salad, for vegetables, and so on. Maybe it's going to say, he's low of sugar. Maybe just recommend, I don't know, like chocolate, I don't know, but something sweet. And this is when things start becoming powerful. As long as we keep ownership on them, they will work for us once they are connected. But we can think even further, because I just tell you about, the things, this thing and this other thing. What happens when the systems gets connected, when not just the car, but I told you about the fridge and the toilet and so on and so forth. What happens if you are you have an accident, the ambulance is going to come, you are put into the ambulance, and then the guys start trying to take care of you. One of the key things that is going to happen is that the information is going to flow immediately to the hospital, So they know exactly what your situation is. But it's also going to tell you, driving in the car with an alarm internally in the car, that the ambulance is coming. Right now you cannot hear it. The winds are up, the air conditioning is high, the music is high, but you will know it because both of them are connected. And what is also interesting, there will be green lights for the ambulance, because the ambulance can communicate with the signals and let them know, we're coming, this is an emergency, please turn the lights in green as I arrive. This is I'm not sure if you can read it well, but just to give you a hint, you can go to the Ericsson website. Is an output of the consumer insights done on which we are reflecting which are the top 5 and the bottom 5 drivers of satisfaction for people who live in a city. Just to give you some perspective, most of the things that drive satisfaction are related with entertainment, and most of the things that are driving not satisfaction are related with traffic and transit. So just to give you some insights on where are we going. Now, we need to remember the question. What will happen when everything that will benefit from being connected is connected? This is what in Ericsson we call the network society, so you may be in touch with it. You just search it and then you will find more information. But I know that I just vomit a lot of ideas into your brains, and to me I just feel it because I get excited every time I talk about it. And I believe that what is important is to channel all this energy into a concrete action, an action that is wise and that is going to take us somewhere. Not just go and let it dissipate with time. So I want your permission to take you through a small reflection. It's 7 questions. They should be easy. It's like the quiz, after the class. And hopefully they will help you to interiorize. I am asking Stefan, he hasn't even known. Okay. So let's just make a test. I'm going to ask you a question and then you answer it to yourself, quietly, okay? Right. So there are going to be 7 like this. Now, I do advise you to kind of choose, do I want to go through this process as an individual to see how my life is going to change? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur, a technology guy, business guy, or marketing, would like to take this more into your career. So just think on which phase would you like to adjust your mindset to go through the questions. So are we ready for the first question? Oh my God, what excitement. Come on, are we ready? Yes, duh. No, that's our excitement. Okay, question number 1. Which are your favorite and most useful 5 devices or things? Yours. 5 things in the house or in work or whatever that you really care about. Can be at work. How much better could they be if all of them were connected to each other and to you? How will they impact your life if they were connected? How will your behaviors change when these devices were connected? How would it be if everyone, top 5 devices, were connected? How would our society change? How do you need to prepare yourself? You have some picture or something that is going to happen in the future. You have the chance now to prepare yourself and your business. What will you do? Learn, study, connect to the tech guys that are going to come soon? How can you prepare for that? And how aware are you now of the advantage that you have for being present today? And all communicating word starts today. I want to thank the organization for inviting me to the event. I came here I didn't want to position myself as a technical guy because I am not. But I wanted to come here and share with you and for us to start painting the future that we can have together. Thank you very much. My name is Juan Cajiao and hope to stay connected to you.